On OSRC News at 7, Nigerians advocate attitudinal change as OSRC weighs impact of electoral peace accords. Buhari heads Presidential Campaign Council of APC 422-member list. Waste Management Authority prosecutes 46 violators of sanitation laws in Ondo State. And from the foreign scene, NATO promises more help to Ukraine in response to Russia's referendums. Good evening and welcome to the news. My name is Remy Allen. Ever since it gained independence almost 60 years ago, Nigeria's electoral processes have been rattled by all forms of violence. One of the ways the country has tried to subdue the menace over this year is the signing of peace accord by candidates of political parties. In this special report, Julia Bruna takes a look at the effectiveness of the peace accord to elections in the country.
Nearly all of Nigeria's general elections since independence have been tainted with the brush strokes of violence. People have been killed, maimed, and several displaced, with wanton destruction of property and economic viability of some areas cannot be revived again. During and after the general elections in 2015, more than 100 people lost their lives, according to the International Crisis Group. And the European Union Election Observation Mission said about 150 people were killed due to violence linked to the last national elections of 2019. Another dimension electoral violence has taken in recent times is increased attacks on INEC facilities and staff across the country. The Commission stated last year that between 2019 and May 24, 2021, its offices were attacked 41 times across 14 states. The Commission lost no fewer than 9,836 smart card readers in over 42 attacks on its offices and staff in 3 years. All these cases of attacks are what the country is contending with, thereby propelling some to organize peace accords between the major contesting gladiators to end the violent outcome of elections in Nigeria.
The National Peace Committee must come with their national, accord documents and gubernatorial document to be signed, so that all candidates or aspirants or participants or stakeholders in every election in Nigeria must sign this peace agreement to ensure that there is peace and tranquility, there is orderliness, there is no irregularity, even malpractice in the elections, so that when there is no violence, when violence mars our election, it goes to the root of electoral tribunal. Election tribunal, where somebody say the election is marked by malpractices, by violence, by irregularities, by unwholesome behavior and conduct on behalf of political thugs, voters, electorate that could create political apathy. And in a way, when you have thuggery or thuggeries in Nigerian elections, the National Peace Committee has come in to checkmate this.
A group led by former head of state, General Abdulsalam Abubakar, and Bishop Matthew Azan Kuka of the Catholic Diocese of Sokoto is at the forefront of this campaign. The essence of the peace accord is to ensure what people say and what they think or do during election periods are governed by peace. Ever since the establishment of the National Peace Committee, every election in Nigeria has witnessed political parties signing the peace accord. However, the increased violence erupting from elections have continued to raise questions on the viability of the peace accord signed by political gladiators. A social affairs commentator, Jonathan Obatola, opined that beyond candidates setting pen to paper, every Nigeria should sign a pact with self to foster peace.
It is sending signals to would-be perpetrators of violence during elections that the party candidates will not stand by them, that they will feel the impact of participating in electoral violence more than even the party candidate, because the party candidate has dissociated himself from such attitude by signing the peace pledge with the civil society organization, or in this matter with the National Peace Commission. So it is very significant in our polity, and it is something that encourages peaceful participation of young people, especially in party politics, before electioneering campaign, during the electioneering campaign, and even on the day of election, because there are a lot of triggers of violence when it comes to electioneering process.
It's no doubt is agrees to electing a new leader, which is why the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) also sued for peace, as they called on the National Peace Committee (NPC) to engage actors in the political space early enough in order to minimize incidences of electoral violence in the 2023 general elections. Next week is the beginning of electoral campaigns in Nigeria, setting the tone for the 2023 general elections. As the race intensifies, it's yet another opportunity to put to test the efficacy of the peace accord. Juliet Buna, Osrc News.
Still on politics, the All Progressives Congress has released a 422-member presidential campaign council ahead of the commencement of the party's 2023 presidential campaign to be headed by President Muhammadu Buhari. According to the list of members of the council released in Abuja, Bola Tinubu, the party's 2023 presidential candidate, and Abdullahi Adamu, its national chairman, are to serve as deputy chairman of the council. Governor Simon Lalong of Plateau is the Director General, with James Faleke as Secretary of the Council. The list showed that all APC governors are coordinators of the Presidential Council in their respective states, and where there were no sitting governors of the party, its governorship candidates were the coordinators. Secretary to the Council, Faleke, had advised all nominees to pick their appointment letters on Monday at the APC Presidential Campaign Office. The Presidential Campaign Council, with its many directorates, will be inaugurated on Monday, September 26, at the Tinubu Shetima Presidential Campaign Office in Abuja. Away from politics, no fewer than 46 persons were arrested in Akure, the state capital, for contravening various sanitation laws. Their offenses range from non-compliance with sanitation rules, engaging in trading during sanitation hours, cooking in an unhygienic environment, among others. The report is presented from our studios.
It's another last Saturday of the month and time for environmental sanitation in Ondo State. The essence is to instill the culture of cleanliness and hygiene among the populace. The September edition of the Clean Up was held across the 18 council areas of the state, and it witnessed appreciable level of compliance. Environmental officers stationed at various locations ensured the 3-hour restriction on human and vehicular movement was adhered to by all residents. Ondo State Commissioner for Environment, Mr. Sunday Akinwalire, and the Chairman, Ondo State Special Committee on Waste Management, Mr. Kehinde Badejo, urged residents to desist from engaging in other activities during the sanitation hours.
Understand, I can see very clearly that even the major contractor, Zelda, has been doing quite a lot this time around. But for the general activities so far, people still defy the usual constitutional order restricting movement of vehicular movements. So we hope that by next month, there will be a very serious clamp down.
Continue to tell them, waste don't grow on the ground or by this roadside. It is the people that brings it there. So it is the people's head that must be corrected. Our people need to change their attitude.
The General Manager, Ondo State Waste Management Authority, Mrs. Ayo Adeyemo, stressed the need for proper containerization of waste.
Making sure the environment is always clean. Even their premises, whether they are shops, their markets, should always clean and sustain the cleanness. For one, somewhere to be clean is different. You sustain the cleanness, sustain the tempo, and get a prescribed dustbin. Be a lover of dustbin. Be a lover of cleanliness. And I want to use medium to thank our father, our governor, Arakunrin Akredolu Odunayo San.
Waste vans were also sighted in and around Akure metropolis to ensure that the quest to regain the status of one of the cleanest states throughout the Federation is on course.
The Nigeria Labour Congress has warned against reported moves by the federal government to withdraw registration license of the Academic Staff Union of Universities over non-submission of its audited financial returns for over 5 years, while dismissing the claims that ASU had not submitted its audited financial returns to the Register of Trade Unions for over 5 years, as required by the law. The NSC insisted that the union had submitted its financial reports up to 2021. The NLC was reacting to media reports that the federal government may withdraw ASU's registration because of the alleged infractions. In the letter to the Registrar of Trade Unions and copied the Minister of Labour and Employment, NLC President Ayuba Waba warned against moves to deregister or withdraw ASU's registration license. You're still watching OSRC News at 7. We'll now take a short break. We'll be back after now. Please stay tuned. Thanks for rejoining us. You can watch us live on our website www.osrc.ng or follow us on Facebook OSRC TV Ondo, and on YouTube you can subscribe to our channel OSRC TV Ondo. Dream fulfillment is a lifetime achievement worthy of celebration. This is why a gospel musician and convener of Voice of Solution Music Ministry, Adenike Olaitan, rolled out the drums as she launched her first album titled New Song at the Redeemed Christian Church of God RCCG Praise Sanctuary in Akure, the Ondo State capital. Omoriola Ogbeji reports that the convener also honored her husband, Akinla Olaitan, with a Rare Pillar Award alongside other dignitaries. The report. This is Mrs. Adenike Olaitan on stage performing at her best with a vision she has nursed over the years. Various ministrations, including choreography and songs, also added glamour to the event. Acknowledging God's greatness over her life, Mrs. Olaitan said the success of the day couldn't have been achieved without prayers, saying the journey came to manifestation last year after 25 years in choir. She lauded the unrelenting efforts of her husband, who has been her pillar to ensure that the dream come to reality, and promised to always follow God's directive for success.
Ministry is not limited to only song ministration. The Lord said I should go into the world and preach the gospel to all creation, everybody, both man and woman, that should be preaching from one town to another, from one country to another.
Chairman on the occasion and General Manager Okitipupa Oil Plantation, Mr. Taiwo Adewole, who described the celebrant as a worthy daughter with a good example of proper parenting, believed she will go higher with the fear of God in her ministry.
What we're about to do has so many parts, and I want to appeal to you. Don't just sing like any other people sing or other people minister. Let your organization be inspired by the Holy Spirit.
Dignitaries at the event, including the representative of Olowo of Owo, Oba Ajibade Ogunwoye, launched the album. A Rare Pillar Award from the celebrant was presented to her husband through her children, in-laws, and old schoolmates at Kausa 1996 set for standing by her in all she does. Others at the event, including parents of the gospel singer, were optimistic that she will further excel.
She's too appreciative. Nobody fails if you appreciate God. With all this, I'm pretty sure she's going to wax more stronger.
I so much believe that God is taking her to high level.
The album, New Song, is now available for sale on Moriola Mbiji, Osrc News.
More dignitaries have continued to visit Ondo State Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu over the demise of his mother at the Presidential Lodge, Government House, Alagbaka, Akure. Governor Akeredolu, while attending to his visitors, noted that he and his siblings appreciate God for allowing them to survive their mother. Government House correspondent Olumide Adeluwoye reports that some of the visitors are Ajike ruling house of Owo, led by Prince Olayemi Olatunbose Ajike, education secretaries across the state, members of Akure South Local Government Elders Caucus, members of the Agency for the Welfare of Persons with Disabilities, among others.
Governor Akeredolu, in company of some members of the State Executive Council, alongside his siblings, were on ground to receive visitors who came to commiserate with his family over the demise of their mother. The national leader of Afenifere, Ayo Adebanjo, represented by Secretary General Shola Ebisheni, and State Chapter of the Social Political Group, led by its chairman, Chief Korede Duile, as well as the Pan-Yoruba Social Political Outfit known as Tiwantiwa, from the Southwest, led by the Director General, Dr. Shola Agbola, were among those who paid the governor a condolence visit.
The leader asked that we should appreciate Your Excellency on your principled stand on national issues, particularly on the issue of true federalism. And we are greatly impressed by your stance on the need in a true federal state to have multi-level policing.
Mama came and lived a fulfilled life, not only as a pillar of support to her late husband, as we are told, but as a caring mother and a million to the family.
The Olu of Igbokoda in council, led by the Oba Odidiomo Afolabi, Osolo of Isolo in council, led by Oba Edward Adewole, Olu of Igbobini, Oba and Olori Raphael Oyedele, and the Jowe of Inikoroa, Oba Matthew Olasende, also took their turn to congratulate the governor and his siblings for surviving their mother.
Lórúkọ Kàlàsùwẹ̀ tí àbọ̀yì gbogbo ọba àbọ̀yì àti gbogbo àwọn ẹbí bàbá ẹbí ìyá wọ́n wà lábọ̀yì wọ́n ní káàkiri ní o.
The governor thanked the monarchs for finding time to visit and commiserate with him and his family.
Mama no try. Mama for the night. What about him? I will go to Abi or I will go out. Today, our time when I go away,
also, to console the governor are representatives of senior retired police officers, led by retired Inspector General of Police, Mr. Sunday Eindero, members of Tinubu Mountain Group, Ondo State, led by the leader, Pastor Olufemi Bakare, representatives of youth in Southwest APC, led by the Party State Youth Coordinator, Ayo Olawande.
We always pray to survive our aged parents. So I want to congratulate you for surviving your mother.
Representatives of Yalaje and Yaloja of Ondo State, Main chiefs, APC leaders, and some senior citizens of the state, including Pastor Arije Oyekon, Prince Arowolo Iyamolera, Chief Festus Ogunbayo, Chief Sonya Oyinson, and Dr. Afolabi Adewakun, said Mama Akeredolu lived a fulfilled life. Governor Akeredolu said the good deeds of his late mother will continue to speak for her and appreciated God for a life well spent.
Ni àwọn adúpẹ́ fún pé gbogbo ẹ̀ náà lẹ́yìn ẹ̀ náà adúpẹ́ ìyá ẹ̀ kí ọmọ adúpẹ́ sọ pé yìí la máa fẹ́ pé kẹwà àpè yìí wá bá adúpẹ́ bá adúpẹ́ ọpẹ́ tó bá ní tó yẹn máa parí náà pé ẹ wá bá wa gbé ìgbà ọpẹ́ o.
The governor who thanked them for the visit noted that his beloved mother will be sorely missed. Olumide Adeluwoye, OSRC News.
Moving to the foreign scene, NATO says it will never recognize Russia's referendums in occupied regions of Ukraine. The alliance has called on all states to reject what it is calling a blatant attempt at territorial conquest.
What we should do, we should get all the countries together that have, for instance, the Leopard tank, and see that we join forces, train together, send Leopards together to Ukraine, which they need right now if they want to succeed in reconquering the territory that Russia has under occupation.
Moving to sport, Ondo-born and Nigerian table tennis player Taiwo Mati is relishing his highest ever ranking after becoming the second highest rated in Nigeria, 6th in Africa, and 94th in the world. The African Youth Champion and bronze medalist at the 2022 ITTF African Senior Championships climbed 64 steps up the ladder of the latest ITTF ranking after stellar performances at the junior and senior levels in the space of 2 months. In this report, Abiodun Akdewale takes us through the rank making of the fast-rising table tennis player from Ondo City.
My dream has always been to win a medal at the World Championship, Olympics, the Commonwealth. Just like players before me, like Haruna, Kodri, Segun Toriola, Omotayo, Olajide.
Just like the players before him, Taiwo Mati is on the path to writing his name among elite athletes in Nigeria. He began to play table tennis on the streets of Ondo City before being discovered by former player and Ondo State table tennis coach Dotun Omoni around 2014. Taiwo Mati started making headlines in 2017 after winning the boys' event at the National Youth Games in Ilorin, a feat that propelled him into the national junior team and becoming the African cadet champion in Egypt.
I showcased her in 2014, he lost. 2015, he lost. When it's in 2016, he now promised to Akure to stay with me. I now started training him, like that. So later, you see, when it's in 2017, I now told him that, look, you are going to youth game. I've trained you, but you are careless. You must develop mentally. That is where he won the under-17 in London.
Since then, I've been in the national youth team representing Nigeria in several tournaments, training tours in China, in Europe also. And I was among the Nigerian senior team that went for the All-African Games in Morocco 2019, which I won silver medal in the men's team. And also last year, December, I won bronze medal at the World Youth Championship, which was one of my best performances so far. And that's it. And recently, I won the Western Region Championship, which qualified me for the World Championship in South Africa next year.
Before Taiwo Mati, former junior and national champion Ujo Onolapo had risen to prominence under the tutelage of Coach Omoni, just as Wale Fagbamila, Joshua Oladiran, Sunkanmi Ogini and Amadi Ome.
My coach always told me to be humble and always have respect for my elders. The reason why I'm always in Ondo State is because Ondo State is my root. We have so many good players. Without them, I cannot be Taiwo Mati now. And I still need to be with them, I still need to practice with them to stay with my coach.
Perhaps the perfect relationship he maintains is why he has become an integral part of the Nigerian team. In July 2022, he led Team Nigeria to gold at the ITTF Junior Championships in Tunisia. 2 months later, he teamed up with the senior team in Algeria, where he won a bronze medal at the ITTF Africa Senior Championship. The feats have seen him rise further on the ITTF rankings, becoming Nigeria's second best player, Africa's number 6 and number 91 in the world. With his level of exposure at junior and senior levels for Nigeria, Taiwo Mati is setting his sights on education, which he believes will cement his place in Nigerian sport and beyond.
I finished my secondary school and now I'm planning to continue. He said that I start studying online, doing some online courses which goes alongside with sport, like sports science or sport management. I think that would be the best course I can do at the moment. But later in the future, I can still continue to do any other courses or degree programs. In the next 5 years, I see myself in the top 20 in the world ranking. and I see myself winning medals, breaking records for Nigeria and Africa.
As young as his career is, Marty has recorded some moments he described as low and high, but this new height is definitely one of many that is to come. Abiodun Adewale, OSRC News.
Still on sports, Roger Federer has played his final competitive tennis match before retiring, but the 20-time Grand Slam champion was unable to finish his career on a high, losing to Team World Pairing at the Harvard Cup in London. Odwayo Sawyer reports.
The end of a career and era. For 24 years, Roger Federer has left fans and opponents in awe of his skill and heart. The 41-year-old embraced by family, his idols and his fiercest rivals. Federer had his last career match at the Lava Cup in London.
It's been a perfect journey. I would do it all over again.
Suitably by his side, a player who helped push him to great heights and would later become a good friend, Rafael Nadal. Their doubles match didn't go their way, not that you could tell.
And it does feel like a celebration to me. I wanted to feel like this at the end, and it's exactly what I hoped for, so thank you.
Federer's decision to call time on tennis was ultimately made by his body. A career spanning almost 3 decades, over 1,700 matches, taking their toll. Beginning with a Grand Slam breakthrough with Wimbledon in 2003. He won a total of 103 ATP titles in a career that included an incredible 1,251 victories. The Swiss minstrel spent a total of 310 weeks as world #1, amassing more than $130 million in prize money throughout his career. Spectators marveled at Federer's uniquely graceful game powerful style, cementing his place among the game's fans.
For my heart, I mean, it's so amazing. I have good times when I see him. I have some good memories with him, so it's my hero for like 70 years. So
we always admire him as a player, but also as a person.
But the Swiss maestro is standing firm. There will be no on-call, but might be tripped down under.
Yeah. I love coming to Australia, you know that.
Roger that. Odwayo Sawyer, OSRC News.
Just before we end OSRC News at 7, let's take a look at the top stories. Nigerians have called for a change of mindset to end the era of electoral violence ahead of the 2023 general elections. The All Progressives Congress has released a 422-member presidential campaign council list ahead of the commencement of the party's 2023 presidential campaigns. No fewer than 46 persons were arrested in Akure, the state capital, for contravening various sanitation laws. And from the foreign scene, we told you that NATO has pledged to render more help to Ukraine as Russia conducts referendums in occupied regions of the country. And that's the news. Thanks so much for watching. Good evening.